more expensive. Price hikes on engagement rings likely on the horizon for the world's biggest diamond exporters. Now, couples are considering lab-grown diamonds as an alternative. This is true. The faux gems sell for 70 to 90% less than real diamonds and now make up half of the market. But here's the catch. Unlike natural diamonds, lab-grown rocks lose virtually all their value over time. And despite the hefty price tag, some experts say real diamonds might actually be the better long-term investment, especially during economic uncertainty. Here to tell us more is celebrity stylist and fashion executive Tiffany Reid. On set, we've got diamonds, we've got gadgets. We're going to talk about it. Let's start with what's the better choice? What are people talking about right now?
Yeah, so I think right now in this sort of climate, any time that we're unsure about how we want to spend on luxury goods, it's better to buy something that's going to be an investment and to appreciate in value. So natural diamonds have a well-established global market. And since they are rare and they're finite, they are always going to increase in value. So if you are going to make an investment, because whether it's a lab-grown diamond or a natural diamond, it's a huge investment to buy an engagement ring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Regardless.
Yeah, and what do we have here? There's been a rise in the synthetic diamonds being passed off as natural. And I think a lot of people think in their mind, I've never really heard of lab-grown. I've heard of, you know, I go and I get a fake diamond or I go and I get a real one or the other.
Right.
In between?
I think if you're looking for fine jewelry as an investment, then obviously if you purchase a natural diamond, it's way more of a better investment because lab-grown diamonds actually appreciate in value, which you mentioned earlier, because they don't appreciate in value, what you mentioned earlier, because they're being produced by the masses now.
Okay.
And so basically it's the same chemical makeup as a natural diamond, except it's not the real thing.
Right.
So I brought a really cool device here for you to
us.
test and see the difference between lab-grown natural. So right now, this is a diamond proof. I'm just going to close this drawer and it's going to go through
So there's a diamond ring in a little drawer. It's being pushed into this.
Yes.
And this is called diamond proof.
It's called diamond proof. So De Beers developed this technology. It's basically an instrument to help retailers identify whether or not a diamond is real, whether or not a diamond is natural.
Okay.
And so we're just going to hit this so that you can test it out.
Okay. So what's happening right now? So now it's
it's measuring the color and the nature of its fluorines to basically compare the results to an algorithm that has been researched by science, and basically the whole De Beers group has invested a ton in research into this. And so what happens is that it's going to capture the diamond.
Okay.
And it will tell you in a few seconds whether or not this is a natural diamond or a synthetic diamond.
Okay, it just turned blue. What does it mean?
It turned blue, so if it's blue, you're good.
All
so
right.
Here you go, blue is good here.
Okay, we want
blue. So we're gonna just test this out and try with another diamond. And I'm not going to identify which of these rings are.
Now, these are the two I held up before break, right?
These were the two you held up before break.
Got it,
yes.
Okay.
And so I'm not going to identify whether this is lab-grown or synthetic, et cetera. So I'm just gonna put one in here now.
And they're all beautiful. I mean, they sparkle and they shine, and they've got the cut, and they're catching the light.
And that's why it's such a big debate, because it's such a big debate because people are like, well, if you can't tell if it's on my finger, then what's the reason for it?
Right.
The sentimental value, I think, is the main reason why people are so attracted to natural diamonds. Natural diamonds are finite, they're one of a kind. And in theory, you're in your marriage for a lifelong, right?
That's right.
Diamonds last forever.
Right.
And also family heirlooms. We all know that people have these precious jewels from their family that pass on, and you could repurpose diamonds. And so that's one of the main reasons why people are huge fans of natural diamonds.
So are there couples that go in and go through this scan and the man is like freaking out, hoping that it's going to come up and say...
So my advice is to have the conversation first. If you are getting engaged, talk to your future fiance about what their feelings are on lab-grown versus natural.
All right. So as we're watching this, let's talk about how tariffs impact this, because that is another big part of why we're talking about this, right? Because it impacts everything from a kitchen sponge to a diamond ring.
Yes.
So how is it impacting the diamonds and the jewels that we're talking about
So
here?
at the moment, tariffs are they're concerning for every industry right now. But I think beyond raising prices for consumers, it really is damaging to communities that really stand on the natural, diamond, their natural resources as the backbone of the economy. So for instance, Botswana right now is facing a 37% tariff on these exports, which for them will be crippling to the economy because the diamond industry is the backbone of that economy.
Right.
But also lab grown is going to be affected by it too, because a lot of these lab grown diamonds are being imported from China. So it's not just the natural diamond industry, it's also the lab grown industry. And you're already investing in a ton of money to buy these diamonds. So putting the tariff on top of that is really, I think, disheartening for a lot of future newlyweds.
Tiffany, I think we see a yellow here on the screen.
So
What's happening?
So yellow, I would say red is stop. So this is not a natural diamond.
Okay.
And so this machine, I think, is really great to have. So when you come in, a lot of people are new to this industry. Not everyone's buying diamonds, especially not in this economy. So to have something so easy to use, super friendly in stores, so you could test your diamonds and just make sure it's a real thing. It's a 0% false positive rate. So there's no way you're going to get a false positive. It is not a natural diamond.
What are you hearing from people that are shopping for these engagement rings? We've got a lot of people looking to get married and looking to make this investment.
Yeah.
What is the number one concern, obviously, other than just the money? And they want to make sure that they have something that is, that's going to last a lifetime.
I think a lot of people are feeling pressure. I speak to a lot of men about this, about buying that ring. I think there's been such a pressure to get a huge, big rock, right?
Right.
And people compare it and they look at your hand and they see, and that's the first thing you comment on when you get engaged is about how beautiful or how big or how clear the diamond is. But what I'm finding now is that there's so many people who are getting more creative. So like quirky diamonds, quirky rings are trending right now, especially for the younger brides, because it's more personalized, it feels special, and we're just moving away from those super traditional styles.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay to do something that's not traditional.
Definitely, and it's what's trending right now.
All right, Tiffany Reid, we want to thank you very much. This is very fun, and you go to our socials, and we'll tell you about that so you can follow along of how this all works. Thank you very much, Tiffany.
Thank you for having me.